I tip my hat to the Spartans. I got to tell you, that team is, they just had a string of bad luck. They've lost a couple overtime games. They're playing people to 7 points, 8 points. They just, they're going to get over the hump eventually, and I'm just glad it wasn't against us. So that's a team that's playing good basketball right now. They're in a zone of understanding who they are, and it's just unfortunate for them it's just how it works sometimes. When you're winning, sometimes winning begats winning, and sometimes losing begats winning or losing. So new coach, fighting, told him to keep his head up. I think he's doing a very good job, and unfortunately we're gauged sometimes by our wins or losses, or at least that's one of the components that people look at. But I think you have to look at the big picture. He just got there, and I think he's fighting. I think he's keeping his kids playing inspired basketball. And so I tip my hat to Coach and San Jose State. Secondly, I'm glad my guys, bought into the defensive side of the ball the second half. I called an early timeout. I just didn't think they came out with the energy and the pop that we needed. Everybody wants to beat the Rebels, so you're going to get everybody's best shot. So you need to make sure you show up every single night, and I think we're still learning that lesson. Hopefully we learned the lesson and got the W, but we can't afford to not embrace that opportunity to wear the scarlet and gray and don the Rebel jersey, and we've got to do a better job. It's not that they don't understand. It's not that they're not appreciative, but I don't think they really understand the value of having one of those jerseys. So I got to keep teaching them, educating them, and we'll get them there eventually. So we'll dive into some basketball questions now.
Alrighty. You've been talking since the beginning of conference play about doing the small things in order to win a game. Mm-hmm. Tonight, your team out-rebounded San Jose by 20 rebounds, right, including being plus 10 on the offensive side of the ball. Can you talk about how huge that was for you guys?
Well, typically with Division I basketball especially, whatever you do bad the game before, coaches lose their minds and throwing extra drills, and we got to shore this up and fix it, and I'm no different than any other coach. And so we really worked hard on our rebounding, just a couple of days that we had to work on it, and showed extra film and talked about it and preached about it. So we had an opportunity to rectify the 18 offensive rebounds that we gave up, and also learn that we need to attack the glass, and we sent 3 guys to the glass tonight. And so it was good. It was a good effort, and that's a good rebounding team. They match up, I think they're 3rd or 4th tallest team in America. So I thought it was maybe even more of an accomplishment than it might appear to be, because I know they're one of the better rebounding teams in conference.
And then your team knocked down 3 early three-pointers in the first half and then kind of struggled to get the last 2 late in the second half. Do you want your team shooting out of a slump like that, or do you kind of want to change up the offense?
Well, the way they played off defensively will always lend to how you play offensively. And I think that my strategic approach to shooting threes is you don't want to take early, quick threes. I like to take threes off of some type of paint touch. Now, a paint touch could be a high post. It could be a direct post pass. It could be somebody driving into the paint and driving and kicking, because now that ball is coming to you and your feet are set and you're in a better position and posture to that's how you practice shooting. It was a ball coming out from underneath the basket to catch and shoot. So we've got to do a better job of being patient and taking high-quality shots. I think some of those shots that we missed were not very the shot selection had something to be desired.
It's offensively for Brandon, 2 big games in a row. What did you see out of him tonight, and then just the last 2 games in general for him?
Just a young man getting better. Just a young man embracing the journey, and he's really wanting to not just score the ball, but he's understanding now. I think he was a little frustrated early when he would feel like he was open, but didn't realize there's a guy standing right behind him. So once we sat and we watched film, and then he was like, oh, okay, I thought I had him sealed. And like, you had him sealed, but they are throwing everything in the kitchen sink at that kid. And as a young freshman, to be able to handle it with the maturity that he has and doing other things. So now he's blocking shots. What else are you going to do to help us win a game if you're not scoring 30 points, okay, or getting a lot of touches? Well, you got to rebound, right? You got to make your free throws. You got to defend. You got to block shots. You got to do all the details that equate to winning. And so he's doing that. You got another one, Mike? Or you good?
Mark,
I'm sorry, name and paper, please.
with the require.
Right.
To get these 2 wins at home and to hold off every run to get the wins, how important is that one, especially the 2 road trips or road games you have?
Well, I think they're important, but not because of the games that you have ahead of you, because that would anticipate that you might lose those games, right? And that's not who we are. We're attacking the games that we have directly in front of us. That game is the most important game of the season. And now Boise State's the most important game of the season. And they're doing special promotions and trying to sell tickets. And the Rebels are coming to town, which is we embrace that, and we want that. And we've got to get our swag about how we play this game. And I think we need to get a higher level of intensity and passion and enthusiasm when the ball goes up. And so that's something we need to embrace. But I think getting these lessons in and still getting the 2 wins is exactly what the doctor ordered for us right now. By the way, who won that Wyoming game? Did you see that? They did. I walked out. They were down 3. I thought the game was over. And then somebody said they went to overtime. That's another team that keeps fighting until the end.
Hey, Coach, you've talked a lot this season about having to learn how to play in conference. You now have back-to-back wins for the first time in conference. You're above 500 for the first time in conference. Do you feel the team has turned a corner and they're starting to figure it out a little bit?
When the book is through being read and, then I can tell you whether that was a turning point. It's too hard to call. I'd like to think so, but we just got to work, man. We just got to keep working. And I just feel like I just think you can't get too wrapped up in anything except the game in front of you. I know it sounds cliche, guys, but shoot, it's that way for a reason, I mean, that San Diego State game, it was like I didn't really realize the impact of beating San Diego State until after the game was over, because I'm focused on getting my kids ready to play the best game they could play. So I'm hoping that at the end of the season, I'm saying that as well. Like, wow, this is great to be in the NCAA tournament again, and this is great to have these things at our plate right now. But the only way to get that done is to next possession mentality. And next possession right now is our film session and our practice in preparation for Boise State.
Coach, that was my next question. What do you guys have to do against Boise that maybe you were unable to do in this building?
Well, we got to do a better job from guarding Chandler from a team perspective. I think that, he's a special player, and they've got, like San Jose State has Wellage, Boise State has more of a support than just Hutchinson. So, there's a lot of little things that I think we'll do differently. Well, I probably won't go into the details of that because that would be the scouting report, and we don't want to unveil that yet, maybe after the game. But I do think that there's some specific things that we can do a little bit differently that we didn't do here. And, you always got to look at that last game, no matter how many games are in between and what tendencies and offensive tendencies they're doing, and there's new sets. Yeah, you got to be aware of those. But when you went head-to-head, how did they beat you when you lose? And when you went head-to-head, how did you win? You got to look at both those things. So we've got to really focus on that last game and break down every single possession. Was the scouting report correct? And now that we can go back and look at the scouting report and all the documentation and analytics that we have from that game and say, okay, what worked, what didn't work, why? Let's tweak it. Let's not do that at all. Let's do this. And so I don't have that full strategy laid out yet.
Coach, you talk about the guard play. Of course, Jovan struggled offensively, but defensively, unlike the game in San Jose where Bauman had actually a pretty good game offensively, he wasn't able to get off tonight.
Well, I told JoJo when he had taken a couple, I thought ill-advised shots early, and I pulled him early in the first half, and I talked to him. I said, JoJo, that's okay. Let's think about this. We have to get stops. I want you to put your pride in your defense. And then let the offense come to you naturally, playing with your teammates, bouncing the ball for others. We had a stretch in the second half where we had turnover, 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 and each one was a play for themselves, which is great educational film, right? This is the result when you play for yourself. This is the result when you trust your teammates and bounce and play for others. So we've got to make sure we continue along that path. But I thought Jovan was phenomenal defensively tonight in the second half. I really do. I thought he was one of the differences between locking down Bowman, and I thought Chris did a great job on Welledge in the second half as well. It's okay. It's only $150. Go ahead. Boomerang, Mike.
Sometimes prevailing over runs over when the conference team makes those on you has been a challenge this year, but you're able to do that several times in this game. How much growth does that show in your team?
Oh, I do think it shows growth that we're able to sustain runs that are, committed against us, so to speak. But it's a game of runs. Basketball is a game of runs and streaks and ebbs and flows, and you've got to be able to sustain the emotional balance and poise in order to be able to weather the storm, so to speak, when those things happen. And I do think that those guys have developed a little more poise and a little more, mental substance when it comes to, okay, we're not going to let that play drive us down, but we're going to splinter or blame this guy or blame that guy. We're going to come get the lesson and then do a better job in the next possession.
For the first time this season, your team is over 500 in conference play. Can you talk about what this does for you guys moving forward?
It just give us, motivation and courage for the next game. And it was a great win, and that stat that you just named is going to, give us the little chip on our shoulder to go in and play Boise at Boise and give it all we have.
Got you. And Brandon, this question is for you. It looked like you kind of surprised yourself in that first half. I think you hit a jumper from the right wing, and I think that
didn't surprise me. No.
But definitely speaking about that, when you kind of have it going in terms of your shooting touch, can you talk about how much confidence that gives you, I guess, on the offensive end?
Well, Coach Menzies pushes us to get in the gym every day, extra hours after practice and stuff. So, I just been working on my jumper. And, Coach has been rebounding for us and stuff and just playing and just telling us to keep working. So I'm just going to keep going back in the gym and just get into it. That didn't surprise me, though. I work on that. I work on jumpers all the time. I just don't shoot them in the game a lot.
Brandon, it's 2 games in a row that teams have been focused primarily on you and packing it in the paint, and you've still been able to score through them. When you hear another team's coach saying something like play it tight or keep it in the paint, is that a bigger challenge for you to try to score through that anyway?
I feel like the whole league play has just been the other day I went into film with Coach Menzies, and he was showing me it was 4 or 5 it was 4 people guarding me and stuff. So he just told me to just slow down and just trust my teammates, and they've been giving me the ball and just trusting me with the ball, and I've been finding the open man if someone comes to me, or if not, I just take the man one-on-one.
And for both of you, what did you guys think of the pregame on-court projections?
It was lit.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
nice. That's something to bring the fans to Thomas and Mack. We need more and more fans to come. Y'all can hear me, right?
This ain't got nothing to do with the game tonight. I wanted to know. I'm kind of tall, and y'all both are very tall. I was looking up to both of y'all when y'all came in. Is there anything that I could do to try and get to where y'all at on y'all level? 6'12" type.
I go to Tropical Smoothie every day. And I get spinach in my smoothie all the time. So maybe if you do that, you might get a couple inches.
Shakur, what is it going to take to beat a Boise State team that you guys have already played once, and you get to go there next? What are you guys going to have to do to sort of reverse that result and come away with a win in that game?
First off, we're just going to have to go watch film on our last game, pick out the things that we did wrong, and, just keep watching, keep learning, and, just go in there and play our game. We're not going to play different for any opponent. playing our game is getting us wins. I just feel like we just got to capitalize all the things that we did bad the first game, and we should come out victorious.
And Brandon, same thing. What are you guys going to have to do to go into Boise and get a win there?
Boise State's a really good team. They got a really great player in Chandler. We're just going to have to get in the lab and just listen to what Coach tells us. You know, Coach been pushing for us to trust what they have to tell us and stuff because, you know, they live way longer than us. And, you know, we just going to have to go out there and just come with a chip on the shoulder. They beat us at our home, so we got to, you know what I'm saying, do the same thing with them.
And Brandon, again, San Jose State, this is the second time you've played them. Is there something different about playing a team for the second time in a season? Is there something that, you know, how does the second matchup, you know, differ from the first, if at all?
You know, I kind of, like me, I'm kind of nervous, you know, because they already seen us play and stuff. So I know that when you play them the second time, you got to bring it 10 times harder. You got to, you know, come with a new move. And I feel like everybody handled it really well. You know, Jordy was pushing the ball and finding the open man. And JoJo and Chris really did good jobs, you know, hitting open shots, and Shakur did really good rebounding. And, you know, with those type of teammates, it helps me a lot, push me to another level.
And to chime in, it's like, I mean, playing in high school, it actually prepared us for this, you know. In high school, you play teams twice, sometimes 3 times if you have states or anything. So, I mean, the college level is a little bit harder, a little bit challenging because they're more precise and more detailed on, you know, in film if they play an opponent twice. But I feel as though high school honestly helped us out to know and, like, how to dissect people and how to pay attention to details when we play them the second time.
Brandon, you guys offensively had a balanced attack pretty much throughout this game, but JoJo was struggling offensively, shooting the basketball. Did it feel good to know that you guys were able to pick up the slack for him, particularly in the second half?
I feel like JoJo, even though he didn't make shots, he did really good on the defensive end. That's what really matters to us. In the middle of the game, I was seeing JoJo no catch in 32, and I'm like, good job, JoJo. I feel like, you know, even though his shots wasn't falling, he was able to impact the game way more than just on the offensive end.
Brandon, earlier in the conference slate, I didn't mean to almost wreck your camera. Earlier in the conference slate, the team struggled when teams made a run on them. San Jose State made a run in the second half, but you were able to withstand it and prevail over that. Is that a sign of growth in your mind?
I feel like it's a really good sign of growth. You know, we've been taking more pride in defense and just being more energetic. I feel like we coming more together, not even on the court, but off the court as brothers. Like, we're getting back to where we were in the beginning of the season where we were really close. We hit a little slump, but I feel like we're going uphill right now. Throw it.
Speak for yourself. I think I would have caught that. Alrighty, so late in the first half, Chris started a break with the block, and Jordy finished it with the 3-point play in terms of that lay-in and the foul shot. Can you talk about how big that was heading into halftime for you guys?
It just pretty much just got everybody excited, you know, make everybody want to do something extra. That block that Chris had, you know, even though I didn't get a block, it made me want to play defense harder. It made me it just shocked us because, like, honestly, we didn't like, Chris blocked shots a lot. But if you see something like that in the game, you know, he's giving a lot of effort. It's gonna rub off on you, and just, you know, you're gonna want to reciprocate.